All right, welcome back to the Nitty Gritty. I always like to say the episode. What are we? 100 and... Holy crap. It's amazing. 115 episodes. Well, we have an exciting couple here, but one of the couple is hanging in the back, waiting to go to the driving range. So we'll just talk about the star of the show. We have Shari Pack from Persnickety Prints.
Is that persnickety? Is that the right way?
Yeah, you say it that way, and Shari that way.
Okay.
Really good. Good job. You
Thank
passed.
you. Oh my gosh. That was a...
We're really bad at saying things the right way usually.
It's true. So first off, I want to know the name. Like, what's the name? Because that's... Did you get crap for the name? Because that's a long name. Like, did people like, oh, nobody's going to know how to spell that?
Absolutely.
But with Google, you don't really have to, like, you just have to kind of get close.
I like to do things the hard way.
Yeah.
And when people tell me to do something, I do the opposite.
It sounds like you and I have a lot in common.
No, Cam, to be honest, it was a $10 URL like 12 years ago, and it's fussy about the small details is what it means.
Really? Mm-hmm. So, like, where does that word come from?
It's a real word.
Wow. Like, when was it? Was there a time when it was like something you would say to explain what you just explained? Like, what is it? Don't sweat the small stuff, basically? Is that what you just said? Something along those lines?
Cam, people are saying it all the time right now.
Persnickety? I guess like the hipster movement did that, right?
Everything's coming back.
They like the old stuff, like the Jankos. Have you noticed that? All the kids in the baggy jeans again.
Oh,
it's like I'm just now grasping like the slimmer jeans or the slimmer pants. I'm like, damn it.
Well, it's easy to say that we're old now because it's like you look at that and it's like, not going to happen.
It's so true. It's like a 30-year cycle, right? Because there was totally, remember when we were all in high school, like bell bottoms were like, there was kind of that hippie vibe, right?
She's got them on. They're
See,
back.
And they're back. See? So it's like, now it's a 60-year thing. It's like I'm bringing back the 90s that were the 60s.
Come on, Cam, keep up.
And the 2020s. Jeez. Okay. I'm sticking to Carhartt. It's cool now. I've been wearing it for a long time, but it's cool now.
It is. My son loves it.
Well, persnickety, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
$10, you're all fussy about the small details.
Huh.
And don't worry about the URL that's spelled incorrectly too for a redirect.
Smart.
So where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Grew up right here in Orem, Utah.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay.
Orem High Tiger.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to watch the video if you're listening because Shari just has like a kind of a badass vibe. The way she's sitting. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like when somebody drives, like lean back, like with one hand up.
Yeah.
Just like, don't mess.
Am I
like
scaring
swag.
you?
No, I like it.
Okay.
I think it's swag.
I'll scoot
it's
back.
swag.
Swag.
Swag's the right word.
Yeah.
I like it. I just think I'm trying to get more people to watch the videos, right?
Oh, go to YouTube.
We're trying to get up above
/
20 views on our YouTube. Anyway.
So, I mean, growing up, did you grow up in like an entrepreneur family? Like, what was that like?
No, my family's a mess.
Your family's a mess.
No, I grew up here. I'm the oldest of 5 kids.
Okay.
Went to Orem High School. Was a stay-at-home mom. Had babies. Grew up scrapbooking with my mom.
Okay.
Pebbles in my pocket down the street. Okay. Shout out to Brenda. And yeah, was just your typical stay-at-home wife. Worked at the Gap for 10 years.
Okay.
Great discounts. And then found digital scrapbooking. Now, I think I'm a lot older than you guys, but we didn't even have like the internet in high school.
How old are you?
46, almost
Not
47.
That much older. I'm
93.
42.
Class of 93.
I mean, I was a freshman when you graduated. No biggie, but
It's fine. You had the internet, okay?
yeah, we did kind of. You're right.
And and so when I had 3 little boys, and I love photos and storytelling, and grew up with, my parents were big into video. Like we would always watch home videos, and so I always had a scrapbook. I don't know. I just always loved it. And but I had to learn how to work hard. My dad was a seminary teacher, so we weren't like the trust fund family.
Right.
So I always had a job and was always working. And when I was like in the 5th grade, I would babysit the neighbor kids for film. I don't know if you guys know what film is, but
For film.
I still have like 4 roles to
there you go.
develop for my mission.
Something called film.
It's coming back now.
I just found it.
Yeah,
Like,
everything's coming back.
Like the
That's so
disposable
weird.
cameras are all of a sudden like
yeah,
super popular.
because of the
I don't get
Kardashians.
it.
We learned.
I
Remember?
mean, the vinyl records.
yeah,
right?
vinyl's been crazy
80s,
too.
90s are back.
Do you know how much money we could have made if we just kept all our stuff?
Everything.
Oh, we made a mistake. I saw a kid at Carhartt the other day rocking one of those volunteer 2002 Olympic jackets. You know how coveted those things are? I mean, and he was just wearing it at work, like the purple ones. It was amazing.
It started with an R.
Roots. Yeah, Canadian company. So it's like, why are we using a Canadian company for the Olympics based in the U.S.? But whatever. So yeah.
That's a different podcast episode.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I learned digital scrapbooking because I didn't have the craft room to pull out all the scrapbook supplies and make little books for these little boys that got into everything. And so I went to UVU and took a night class and learned Photoshop and learned how to make a digital page. And then I'm like, okay, now I got to go print that thing. It's a 12 by 12 digital scrapbook page. And
what about scrapbooking drew you in? Like, why did you like it?
the stories,
Okay.
storytelling, looking back, because I mean, I don't know if you guys have baby books or something to look at that actually proves that your mom took you to Disneyland at age 3.
Yeah.
But if you know my
There's a
boys,
shoebox full of pictures.
I'm like, look at me. Look,
Right.
I was a good mom, I promise. It's proof. It's proof that things happen.
Yeah.
No, stories. This is what you guys are doing every podcast. You're telling stories.
Sure.
So stories bind us. They create, I mean, stories are everything, I think, especially with this life. Think how fast it goes. And I don't want to make you cry, so I'll get off my soapbox about how important they are. But no, yeah, stories,
Like, was your mom a scrapbooker?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, guy, but all big into ancestry stuff, and I still haven't dove into that. But just deriving power from previous generations and reading through their stories and things like that. And so, it's just loved the art of it too, and just putting things together and being creative. And back in those days when we didn't have social media, we would get together with friends and like scrapbook kind of. And so it was a social thing too.
I do remember that. Like my mom went to some scrapbooking parties.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally forgot about that. But yeah, you don't seem like the type of person that could you just seem like a you seem a little go. And I'm like,
Which is why.
but isn't that funny? Like if you love something, like it doesn't matter. Like you can totally sit down and do it. But it's pretty cool.
So then the print side came out, and it's like, okay, now what do I do? I just made this. It's a lot faster to do it digitally. You just plop some pictures in there. And I went to Costco, which, and it's all right. I didn't know much different. And then I took it to a Pro Lab, one of my prints, but it was like $15 for one print. And I'm like, this is like night and day difference. So in learning about the print side, I'm like, okay.
What was the difference? Like that first one you got, what was the biggest thing you could tell?
So if you remember, you guys probably aren't even printing pictures, but when you go to Costco or it's a darkroom process, which is what I use now at Persnickety, and it's like we don't use ink, and so it's chemicals, it's stabilizer, developer, bleach, fix, and the digital photo goes into the darkroom process and comes out. And when the chemicals are dirty, your pictures look a little bit muddy. When it's not optimized, when you don't have a lab tech sitting there looking at it and adjusting things as needed, then it's just auto printed. And so the difference with a Pro Lab and with like a Costco is Costco's not really a photo. They don't really care about photos. They just want you to walk in the front door.
Right.
And so everything was automated, and sure, it was $3.99, but there was a vast difference with a Pro Lab. And so in learning about those, I'm like, wait a minute, why can't, and then I learned that scrapbooking wasn't just a Utah thing. It was all over. So I figured out a way to beat Costco's price and make them better by half. So I made them $1.99, 12 by 12 prints, and they're still that price today because I'm obsessed about pleasing the customer. So that's kind of the road I went down.
How did you know about the quality? I mean, I guess it's interesting that you noticed that kind of stuff back then where you weren't maybe into it, but like your first print, you're like, oh, this is significantly different or better.
Because I think when you're like making art, or say you have a t-shirt from two different places, you're like, wow, this is much softer, or this one feels better. Or so you spend time creating this. Time is money. I'm like, I'm not going to spend 22 minutes making this 12 by 12 scrapbook page digitally if it's not going to print out how I made it. And so the colors were off and different things. And so I kind of went down that road on how to fix it. Why?
So where did you start? I mean, you get the prints and you're like, okay, this is better, but I don't want to pay, what did you say, $15 for it? And so it's like, okay, like where did you go? Like, how did you know where to go and start?
Am I allowed to drop local names?
Sure.
Of course.
Don't arrest me.
Why would I
I'm just
arrest
kidding.
you?
No, I went to Alan's Camera.
Okay.
And I know Rex. He's awesome. Like
Okay.
they're great people. And I'm like, look, first of all, I really want a DSLR camera, but the Nikon, like a nice one. But I'm a stay-at-home mom. I got 3 kids. They're like, you're $1,400. So what I'm going to do for you, Rex, is I'm going to show you guys how we can make this work with your business. You can make money. I'll partner up with you. I'll show you all the women out there that need this, and I'll trade. I'll work for 3 months, and I just want that Nikon that's sitting in the window. And they're like, all right, sounds good.
What
So
a
that's
great
how it
story.
started.
It's so
That's
awesome.
how it started. I wanted my D90. And so,
So are you a stay-at-home mom at this point still?
/ running a business or 2. Yeah.
Wow. And you're just like, I want to go back
No.
to the
Is your question at the time of the story or
Yeah.
for
Oh,
right now?
Yeah.
at the time of the story.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
yeah.
my youngest is 3.
Okay.
and so,
at this point in the story.
Yeah. This is in 2008.
So at that, when you went and talked to them, had you already figured out how to do it?
Yeah. So I actually took Rex's class. He was the teacher at UVU.
Okay.
So I'm taking his class, learning about how to digital scrapbook and Photoshop. And that's actually what happened is he's like, okay, students, here's a discount to come to our lab and print your scrapbook pages. And so when I had the 2 together, I'm like, whoa, how is this way? How is that this way? So learning, asking questions, figuring it out. And
They didn't realize the tornado that was about to blow into that store.
I'm sorry,
Right.
Rex and Ethan.
I think we have another one here.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. And so after 3 months, they're like, oh, wow, this is like making money. Like we started literally a website called Scrapping Simply. Do you think that's better than Persnickety Prints?
No, I like Persnickety way better.
Well, to me, it's like, there you go. Yeah. Woo. ScrappingSimply.com still exists. And, but to me, I'm like, I don't want it to be just about scrapbooking. So anyway, I bought up a bunch of URLs and domains and learned everything from checking out a book of the library, How to Build a Business for Dummies, and figured it out.
We really need to pull the hubby in here. I really want to get some.
Oh, this is hubby number 2.
Oh, hubby number 2. Okay.
Yeah, he's,
Like I wish I could be a fly on the wall when all this is happening, because it's just like, what was your level of like obsessed at this point?
oh yeah, stay up to like 2 in the morning. Like
Oh my
when people tell me I can't do something,
this.
I'm like, I'll show you. So anyway, I worked hard for like 8 months, and then you don't realize when you haven't ever been a business owner that like a verbal like, hey, yeah, you're going 20% of this company really doesn't mean anything. And when you start making money, people get,
Yeah.
do things. And to be honest, Allen's is great. They just have generational of family owners. And so they really couldn't separate 2 businesses.
Yeah.
So it was a DBA. And I'm like, what, a DB what? So, yeah. So that's kind of how it went. And I was like, you guys love ya. I can't do this, but I'm going to take all the customers. I mean, you can try, but I'm going to take my people. I just built a whole entire world under this underground digital scrapbooking world. Right. And so I'm going to go out and I'm going to figure out how to do it.
So how did you do that? I mean, you say things so casually, like, yeah, I just figured out how to make prints. I figured out how to make them cheap, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. There's so much inside of that. And then, I created a community. I'm just going to take it. Like, how did you do this stuff?
Luckily, back in 2009, online was very, very... I mean, social media, Facebook was not monetized.
Yeah.
Instagram just launched in 2009. And that's when I left and started my own business.
This was never work for you.
But like, how did you get
Right?
people to come in at
This was
Allen's?
never work for you.
Oh, yeah. No, it was a challenge.
I mean, but it was fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
you loved it.
Totally. Yeah. For sure. And it still is. It really still
Right.
is.
Well,
I
but
mean, even
that's
today.
why the customers are going to follow you, right? Because when you have like that's the thing about the family businesses, right? Like where it's passed down. Like, do I really want to do this? Like,
Do you love it? Are you willing to go?
no. And that's the thing. Like, it's antiquated, right? Like you're cutting edge. Like you're doing it because you love it, because you think it's fun, and everybody gets the benefit from that.
Are your kids going to take this over?
Not if they don't want to.
Yeah.
They bet like if they love it, yeah. If not, I'll just close it because I don't want them to ruin it.
That's my thought too.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to buy a print shop? Anyone? Anyone have
You got to
passion?
find Shari number 2.
Anyone listening?
Yep. But yeah,
for real.
I mean, it's interesting, but yeah, I had a feeling it didn't seem like work to you, right?
Yeah,
Like it
no,
seemed
it's
like
fun.
you just loved it Wow.
Yeah, it was
So
fun.
when you were with Allenzo, like how are you getting people? Like how are you finding customers? How are you building that
so
like, loyalty with
I
them?
would legit sit online and I'd be like, okay, I got to think of this like a pyramid because, you know, Utah, we're all about pyramids.
You left the scheme part out.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
I worked at New
You
Skin.
seem really shy. I don't know how you could find people.
I literally, so in the digital scrapbooking world, there would be like a designer, like a digital designer, and that designer would have all these customers buying their designs. So like they would create these digital designs that you could buy. And so I'm like, okay, this will work. I'm going to email every single designer and I'm going to say, look, don't you want your designs to look good when they're printed? That'd be smart. So
That would be smart.
it's going to help your business. And I'm going to give you 5 free prints just to try Persnickety prints. And I promise you, you'll love them. And I just sat and copy pasted for 6 months.
How are you finding these
Googling
emails? Just
digital graphic designer, digital scrapbook designer. Yeah. And then I just email them and then they'd slowly start. There wasn't affiliate programs back then or anything like that. So I'd be like, hey, I'll look on my Google Analytics. If I get a couple clicks, buttons, little blinkies were a website thing. People had blogs too. Like ladies would have blogs. And then I'd be like, let's switch blinkies, like buttons. And so we'd put little buttons on the sidebar of the blogs. And just
When
got
you're talking
scrappy.
to bloggers, you got to talk like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of
for sure.
like a blinky. Oh, I love those
Animated
blinkies.
blinky. Send me your. Yeah, for sure.
So cool. What a story.
Yeah. So I was lucky too, the timing, because it was easy to build online back then, for sure.
There's the first hint of imposter syndrome right there. Lucky. Nothing lucky about it.
No,
You're a
oh
badass.
gosh, no, yeah. No, I shouldn't say that. Lucky,
Yeah.
good timing. And then Instagram launched and I legit was like, okay, this is it. So anyway, we don't need to keep going on. But yeah, so I launched and I went and tried to find, well, this is the hard part.
launch,
the machines.
like you separated from Allen's
Yeah.
at that time.
And these machines, they're not like, you probably have some really like tough machines out there, right? Like to cook your brisket.
Yeah. When somebody would, it's very similar, right? Like somebody would try to cook a brisket, they would think it's impossible. But I don't, it's hard for me to
But
think
is your
like that.
equipment
'Cause
expensive?
It's expensive, but it's not, it's fairly simple. But yeah, you have to know how to use it.
Yeah.
So-
And so so here's the other thing too is 2009 to 2010, people are turning into digital. When did you get your first iPhone? It's starting to go digital, right? And so first of all, people are like, nobody's going to print pictures. They're all on our cameras. They're all on our phones. And I'm like, okay, I'll show you. Like the Allen's guys, I'm trying to be like, hey guys, stop focusing on selling that camera for 10% profit margin. Let's get into the
Right.
focus over here. And anyway, and so I just went around. So I left and I'm like, okay, I got to do this. And I'm going to focus only on print. I'm not going to worry about selling tripods and all of those things. It's just print. And why don't people specialize in the thing that they're good at? So, salads. You don't want to make salads. I get it.
I definitely don't. The only salads I want are to feed the cows that make my briskets. So
Cows? No.
I just got that.
Come on.
I'm sorry. A little slow.
Yeah. So I went around to all the local print stores and said, hey, so these machines are like 120 grand, these big darkroom machines. And I'm like, okay, nobody's going to give stay-at-home mom Shari a loan. And I don't have a college education. I have a 2-year
would've.
degree.
I would have given
would've?
you a loan.
Dang it.
You kidding me? 10 minutes with Shari, giving her a loan.
So I financed my car and cashed out, took a loan against my car. And well, long story short, I went to some labs. Pro Digital, I came by. So I went to them. I'm like, hey, you guys, I have this great idea. I just need a machine. Does anyone want to partner up? And they're like, okay, who's this crazy lady? Nope. And then I got a call back from Kenny's Photo. And he used to be here over on Orem and Center Street. And he's great. That lasted about 8 months because he was really on his way out, 20 years in the business. And he was like my little printer guy. I'm like, okay, we're going to start this side business and this is what it's called. And I'll fund it because you can't. And so
I love that every place you used, you basically went in and took it over. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry.
that's
Poor-
a nice new
poor
print
my
shop. Like, hey,
husband. I
go in the
know.
back. I got this.
yeah, you are not doing inventory correctly.
Mark, we're going on a podcast, but you don't get to talk.
He just keeps smiling and waving. It's weird. I don't know what he's doing.
He's supporting the mom.
He's awesome. That's right. He's supporting the mom.
You guys taught him well. Anyway, I'll save you all the juice.
No, that's what I want to hear how it went. Because here's the thing. So many people will have an idea and they're overwhelmed with what is the first step? What is the second step, right? Because what they'll do is let's say someone like Prince, and they would say, oh, look at person, look at how far they've come. I can never do that.
Right.
Right. And they don't understand. No, I walked into how many people and just said, let's do this. Right. It's really small actions that can turn into a big business. Right. Mm-hmm. Most businesses that have started around here that we've had guests on the podcast started as solving a really simple issue for them personally, right? I wanted better prints for myself. Betty's, I wanted better beddings. I wanted to go to Target and spend $100 and not feel bad about it. Like it started really, really small.
My husband wasn't doing it for me.
And then they've grown into something. Like you don't have to start with this idea like, hey, I'm going to grow this $100 million business from the beginning.
Heavens no. It's not about it wasn't ever about the money.
Yeah.
And I never had a business plan. Like
not everybody is missing part of their brain. Like Shari and I.
Yeah.
Do we need to have this discussion?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I want to write a book about how many entrepreneurs have ADHD.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah.
Because look at me. I'm like, hey guys.
Okay, so you have ADHD.
I mean, I guess.
You do. Just so you know.
Okay. Yeah. Or I drink a pre-workout before the gym and I'm still going like this.
No. It has nothing to do with that. Everyone thinks ADHD is like hyper.
Yeah.
It's not. Like the questions I've been asking you have all been like me trying to diagnose it because I talk a lot about ADHD. I'm not a doctor. Oh. I mean, I'm a meat doctor, but but I am very like I'm a total advocate for ADHD, and that's my like new obsession lately because it's so fascinating how many entrepreneurs come in here that have it.
Yeah.
And because you don't have executive function that would normally tell you, like what you just said, Andrew, about like people look at that first step and just think they can't do it. Well, she never even looked at it like a step. It was just fun. Like it was her thing. And it's just like me with barbecue. Like it will just naturally turn into a business because nobody will ever do it at the level that you're doing it because you are just, it's called the wormhole. Like you're just, you know what I mean?
And now looking back, would you ever do it again?
I mean, that's it. I can't think of anything else I want to do. It would be really scary to start over again.
Yeah.
Right?
If you knew how hard it was, you would never start.
Right. But if it's kind of an unfair question because it was so much fun. Like it was scary. A lot of like, it's hard to get in the way of somebody that has that and found their thing. Uh-huh. But that's what's interesting is you found your thing and it just went balls to the wall, took over stores, like
Costco
all the way till now.
They're gone.
No fear. And just like every time you hit a hurdle, you didn't look at it as a hurdle. You're just like, I got to solve the problem. Like, where do I do it? How do I do it?
It was very blind. Like we're naive, right?
It's not naive. There's literally a part of your brain that if you truly do have ADHD, I am not a doctor, but I would probably bet my house that you do. There is a part of your brain that I hate using the word, I'm trying to say neurotypical because normal's not a good word, right? That helps someone to assess risk.
Ah, yes, I see.
If you have ADHD, you literally, like biologically, do not have that in your brain.
Yeah, I'm not scared of anything.
And there's a reason why so many ADHD people, if they don't go to jail, and that's not a joke either, end up very successful entrepreneurs because I dove into barbecue, 80% failure rate. I'm like, it's going to be fine. Like, this is going to be awesome. And, it did. And you just worked. So anyway, your story is very, it'd be really interesting for you to take the test and find out.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's harder to see with women. Women are better at like putting that kind of away and just going. So women are by far and away the most underdiagnosed in the ADHD world because you guys are just smarter than we are. You know what I mean? Well, you got to take like no, you are. Women are better in almost every way than men are.
Wow.
Except periods.
I've never heard a man say that before.
Well, it's true. Like I would probably jump off a bridge my second month of pregnancy. I can't even handle having a cold.
Okay.
Like I can lift things. I can
think
reach
you're my
things,
new best friend.
but
When he
I'm
starts
being
crying
real.
over here, I'm calling you. Cam, here's Mark.
I mean, you can't really argue it, right? I mean, we have our purpose, but
You do.
now that we don't have to like hunt and gather, it's
I wouldn't.
we're starting to see our weakness.
I wouldn't have done very well back then. Let's be honest.
Oh, I love
So
you guys.
anyway,
Poor my boys. I have 3 boys. I'm like, you got this, boys. You got this.
that's it.
So I want to come back to the story.
Okay.
What was like your first product that you made? Like, what was the first thing you were printing?
Those 12 by 12 prints.
The 12 by 12
Yep.
prints. And so
Yep.
people were making digital scrapbook pages, sending them-
Online.
and then would they just email them to you?
Oh gosh, no, we had to have the platform. So Kenny had a lot of this already kind of set up.
Okay.
Different platform, and I'm learning like, okay, over here, and then so how can we be different than Shutterfly? But Shutterfly has their own platform, so you have to actually get a third party platform in order. And I'm like, okay, and so we're figuring it all out.
Yeah.
And so I launched with Kenny, and this is where, for those of you that are listening that want to start a business, know what you're signing, because I signed a 50%. Yeah. He's like, oh, let's be 50%. And because I didn't have that at Allen's, I didn't have anything in writing. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, we're going straight to the lawyer's office and we're creating an LLC and it's in our names. And he's like 50-50, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And then all of a sudden I just joined a marriage with a partner.
Yep.
And it was fine for a minute until he got divorced and had a girlfriend that didn't like me. And then we this, and then he wanted to draw every other week. And then he was always gone. And you know what I mean? And so it's like, okay.
We need to clarify that these are analogies. Like, it wasn't really a marriage; it was business.
Yeah.
And he got lazy because
Typical.
Right.
It's typical.
Yeah.
And I'm still like driving this business. I mean, I would literally, have you ever been to that Orem Summerfest? You know, the parade?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. You may have seen me out there handing out coupons down the parade, because I'm like, the biggest thing that I feel like with business owners is you don't have to spend, I probably spent like maybe $5,000 in marketing this entire 10 years.
Right.
Because you can be really, really scrappy. And so because I could print, I printed these little flyers and I'd
I
run
saw
around.
what you did right there, scrappy.
Yeah. Scrappy.
I get it.
And
I get the pun.
yeah, so I'd go hand out coupons at the parades, at the rodeos in the summer, and partnered up with Kenny. But then I wanted to obviously keep growing, and I wanted to get the machine that could print the Christmas cards. That machine's another $80,000, and he had a hard time investing, and he wanted to draw, and he was just in a different stage.
Sure.
Like he was just he's like, I'm just done, which is totally fine. So ended up buying him out, and my first Christmas is December. So bought him out like October 2010, and all of a sudden it's Christmas holiday, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, really, I put an ad in KSL and hired 5 people on the spot and went, okay, you're the manager and you figure out their schedules. I don't know what they need, but that is legit how it started.
Oh my god.
It was
So
a
did you print
disaster.
stuff that Christmas?
Oh, yeah. And we grew 500% in the first 3 years. And it was chaos, but it was fun.
Do you ever text your ex-business husband? Just say, ha.
No, but hopefully someone will send him this. No, I mean, we did really good. I just saw the potential and saw that there's a great margin in something, but if you focus on the customer and focus on the quality and dial it in, then and be the best at that one thing.
The money always
That's it.
follows.
Totally. So yeah. So grew
when,
really,
when
really
did you
fast.
start doing other stuff? Like when did you start introducing other types of prints?
Just the following year, I just kept pushing. I've always stayed in print though. So really I only have 2 different kinds of machines. Well, 3 different machines, because I don't do mugs or magnets or any of that stuff. It's literally silver halide photographic prints, the darkroom stuff, archival. It really matters to me that it's going to last. Cause if we take a picture today, we want to have it in 50 years.
How important is like the type of material you're printing on?
Important. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't care if, this banner behind you has a better profit margin. If this is my customer and this is what they want and this is what they need. And so we, and then fine tuning, like, you spend a lot of money at first and then the margins actually get better and better as you scale down and like fine tune shipping and learning how to have a better, I would literally handwrite people's addresses on these boxes and go stand in the line at the post office every day. And the lady, if you've ever been to the post office here in Utah or wherever, Government employees love them. Stamps my thing. Next one, like literally that fast.
It's like the sloth.
Yeah, the sloth. Dude.
Yeah.
That was the greatest. Like the second I saw the sloth in that, what show was
DMV.
The DMV.
Yeah, Zootopia.
that? Zootopia. Oh, it's so perfect. It's so true.
Yeah. I mean, it was painful, but I couldn't afford the online shipping platform yet. You know, I wasn't shipping enough volume. And so
But
it's
like that's the point, that you did it though still. Like
yeah, most people wouldn't do it.
just because you couldn't do that, they're like, oh, can't do it. It's not going to work. You know?
I think I come from a childhood where I didn't get a lot of attention. Or no, really, I've self-diagnosed myself. This is important. Look at your childhood, and you'll figure out who you are.
But I mean, it was to your benefit, right?
Right? Yeah. It's like, Mom and Dad, look, I got straight A's, and then they're off dealing with the problem children in the family. And so it was just me like proving. I have to prove myself. I have to prove myself.
Yeah.
That's always how
How long did
it's
you get
been.
straight A's?
Every year, forever.
Are you kidding? Yeah,
I mean,
might
I
be
had to
backing
bribe
off my
teachers with
diagnosis.
Cookies.
Okay,
so,
then never
so
mind.
it wasn't because
We're back. We're back.
We're back to the ADHD.
Yep. I graduated because I talked a teacher into it. She's actually going to come on the podcast. She doesn't know either.
Really?
I'm going to finally tell her it's like the first story that somebody like broke a rule and changed my life forever.
Wait, where high school did you go to?
Wasatch High School up in Heber.
You're a Heber boy.
I am. Damn
I
it.
love Heber. Did you buy property back then?
No. I actually still own an acre up there, but I don't know if I could live there anymore. It's kind of ruined. It's basically like rural California now.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, school was. I can't take a test. But I would bring cookies to my teachers. You know, scrappy.
Yeah. Scrappy.
So I got good grades.
You're a hustler.
I'm a hustler.
I love it. How many kids are in your family? Like that you grew up and you were the oldest,
I'm oldest
of five?
of 5, yeah.
Holy crap. I feel like I mean, it's a much skinnier mirror, but I feel like I'm looking in the mirror.
Are you the oldest?
Oldest of 5. Like, and
Do you
it's
take
funny.
care of them now?
All of our stories are very, very similar. 50% when I started band, like crazy. So we'll talk about it. But no, again, like same type of thing. So
meant to
pretty
be.
cool.
That
No
is cool.
coupons at Summerfest though. I haven't done that yet. That sounds exhausting. Plus it's hot.
Yeah.
Isn't that like
True.
in July?
I mean, we can talk about Bam Bams and how you grew it.
No, everybody knows that story. This story, like, but see what I love about this story is, and I do want to back up again. Like, we didn't touch much on you just deciding to take a Photoshop class. Like, I don't think a lot of people know that they can do that. Like, you can just go take a class at a college.
At night.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or even now, just go to the school of YouTube.
Right? I Google everything.
Yeah.
Even today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're into scrapbooking, but it's not like you went to take that class to like sell something. You went because you wanted to learn to just do what you were doing better. Right.
Just different. Yeah, I didn't want to use glue anymore to scrapbook. I didn't want to that was too hard, too long, ADD. I'm like, this is taking way too long. Oh, I can just copy paste something into a paper and then print it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's back in the day when the internet was just new.
But I mean, there's still some people that I would bet that there are still some people that would rather just go take a class than just get online. There's just something about just being there, being free to listen to it, not have any outside distractions. You're a mom at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's such a cool part of the story. At what point did you know it was going to be a business? Like, did somebody else have to convince you of that? Or give
No,
you that idea? Or did
that's the
that just, like, do you remember like a week or a day or a month where it just kind of like clicked that, okay, this isn't just for me anymore. Now I want to do it for everybody else.
I still think I'm kind of thinking like that. No. When I start employees,
so
like
interesting.
we had
That's
one
so
employee and we had one employee that we found out was illegal later. So, I mean, there's so many things that you learn, right?
So that's how you got the prints cheaper.
Yeah.
Genius.
We had one employee, Kenny and I. And so then when I bought him out, I have this one employee. And so I think when you start bringing on employees, then it's another layer of stress because you're taking care of other people too.
But I want to go back further. Like when you went into Allen's, like what
Oh,
made
is
you
it
go
never
from
business?
like, what made you go from like, I'm doing this for me and I want to create like the best way to scrapbook possible for me to,
Well, Alan's was just so she could get the camera.
Yeah, I first got
Oh,
my camera.
true.
I still have it.
It was a trade.
That's right.
That was the
It was a
first
trade.
barter.
3 months of work.
so after that 3 months, is that where it kicked in? Like I can run a business doing this?
Oh gosh, no. I still am like, wait, what? Like, business what? Yeah, no, to me it's just fun. No, but yeah, no, I don't know. That's a good question. After 3 months, it was that it started making money and they couldn't do it without me. And then the verbal contract agreement. And then I'm like, I think once you start getting into it and then you've put so much time and energy, it's really hard to back up.
Right.
And so I'd gone to trade shows and I had networked with all these designers and I've created this network. And then I'm like, wait, I can't just like
But I
hang
would
up the hat
venture
and
to
be
bet
done.
that you were still thinking like, I'm not a business owner. I can't sell anything. Like, I bet you still weren't really thinking
Yeah, it
I
was.
can run a business.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you still doubt yourself. a
No,
little
I'm
bit.
like, I have to get a what machine to run credit cards? Merchant? Merchant? I got to go to Wells Fargo? I don't know how to do this. Yeah, just figured it out. But really what drives me is people saying that I can't do it or proving something. And being a woman in business, there's a lot more to prove. For real.
I get it. I get it. I don't think anybody would ever stand in her way, would you? No. There's a reason he's back there, safe in the corner. Right? He has learned.
How has the business evolved since since 2010, 11, 12? As it sits today?
Evolved. I mean, it's evolved a lot. And we can all say that we learn from failures too,
Absolutely.
right? So I just kind of learn as I go. And I've always, one thing that if you can't tell, I don't like anybody to control me.
Weird. No, I actually pulled my psychology degree from 3rd grade to figure that one out.
And so I'm like, this is it. I'm never having a business partner again. And I also never wanted to ever have anybody fund anything. I don't want to owe anyone anything because then I owe them. And I have this huge conscience. Like, I literally, if I owe anybody out there $1 right now, please come and get it. Because I don't think I can say I don't owe anyone anything right now.
Yeah.
And so I just don't want to be indebted to anyone. I want freedom. And so growing it was a lot of trial and error and different things. And but I never had debt. Not a lot of debt. I paid it off like the second year. Mm-hmm. And
Thanks
to this
first holiday season.
Yeah, right.
Cha-ching.
Right? Oh
Bad
my
time
gosh.
to jump out, fool. Whoever
Right.
that was,
All
your
of it.
business husband, October. What an idiot. Oh my God.
Hey, he brought me his Sprinter van that he bought with the money and said, look at how amazing this is. I'm out. We moved to St. George.
All right.
Lives in his van. But
by the
hey,
river.
yeah, down by the river. Like, you have fun. I'm going to buy 10 of those vans. You see.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, yeah, a lot of failures, a lot of growth, a lot of learning. And literally to this day, so we've been going for 11 years. And I feel like I finally can let go of a lot. And I don't micromanage, hopefully, my employees as much. And I have a really good team that have been with me for 8+ years. And they are in there hustling, printing all the things. And I'm out bringing in the business.
So you're still printing all of the stuff here locally then? Because you guys are doing a ton. I mean, how much stuff are you printing?
I don't know. We probably ship 300 to 400 a day packages out.
And you're doing...
They're handcrafted prints, so on demand, which is hard, and it's to individual customers. But that's what fulfills me. Like, B2B would be a much smarter route. Big orders, big budgets,
Yeah.
but it doesn't fulfill me. When people email or call us or thank you so much. I mean, we're printing funerals, weddings, things that are emotional, and the feedback from customers, and they have no idea what a JPEG is anyway. And so it's like when we're helping them get pictures off their phone and get them in their hands, and it's an emotional experience and they appreciate it. And that's super fulfilling.
Do you have a most popular type of print right now that you do? Would you say you're most known for a specific wedding invitation, something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that?
Yes,
Yeah.
product.
Our process. So now that Costco's gone, there's really not a lot of places that print silver halide, print that way. So if you print something at home, it's on an inkjet printer. It's not going to last. Photo books, even bound photo books, if they're not they're printed with toner and paper. So if you have any older books from Shutterfly, even 10 years ago, open them up. They're going to be yellowing on the outsides. They're glue bound, so the glue will fall out. So they need to be stitch bound. They need to have coating on it, or they need to be a giclée type print. We also do that, but for enlargements, which is archival pigment ink. And it's really expensive to do. So nobody's going to do that we'd go back to the $15 12 by 12 at that point. So we print high volume I have 4 machines, and this is these are big machines. Like I'm changing out lasers. We got filters. We have tools. It's not like a pretty job.
What would Shari 12 years ago, like sitting here right now, be thinking?
Yeah.
Listening to this engineer?
Oh, I'm not an engineer. I just Google stuff.
Yeah, no, for real.
Okay, but
if Shari was listening to this podcast
I'm just
12
saying,
years ago, what would she say?
Like
She'd say,
in the full time,
go girl.
in the full-time mom spot, like, I mean, pretty cool.
No, yeah. But I'm kind of like, can I swear on here?
Shit, yeah, you can.
But I'm kind of, it's like people, it's hard being a woman in the business world because I'm the bitch to everyone, right? Like I'm like, I mean, you can say whatever. It
But you
doesn't matter.
still feel bad about it, don't you?
Well, I try not to be, but I'm very bold and direct.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, we need this and this and this. And so, but if a man does that, you guys are like, high fives. But a woman does it and it's like,
Yeah.
she's emotional. She's a bitch.
It's funny. I talk about that all the time. Like that balance of like masculine energy, feminine energy. Like I think feminine energy is super powerful. But sometimes I do think that nothing of like your energy does not seem, it's you, like it fits, right? But there are women that really try to take on a masculine energy and it just seems like it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. I see.
And I think that those are the ones that really get like now, like if it's to another man, like I watched Tony Robbins do this on something I watched the other day and he goes, you're stepping into my world now and you won't win. Like with masculine energy, like I've been wired since millions of years ago to live in that space, like use the power that you have. Like, and so it's such an interesting dynamic. Cause I think nowadays men are so much more feminine than they've ever been too. So it's like, there's kind of this, like, it's the hunter-gatherer, like we don't have a job anymore. I mean, really,
we should do a whole podcast about energy because
but no, don't you think like there's kind of this, like, we're kind of moving towards this like happy middle ground where
like I'm attracted to men that actually can express emotion. And I don't want to
you
be
would
in my
love me then.
I don't want to be in my
mess.
masculine energy all the time. Like it's exhausting.
But see, it doesn't come off as masculine energy with you.
It is. I've taken the tests.
Well, maybe. But it just seems more fitting with you. It fits with your personality and maybe life experience.
Yeah. I've always had to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's exhausting. I want someone to take care of me sometimes.
But you can still say there, but see, that's just it. Like, I can still see there's still a very sweet side of you, right? Don't act all tough. Just say yes because it's true. Yeah. And I'm sure you doubt yourself a lot still too, right? We all do.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a part of you that probably thinks like, because I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
You do. You're the king of barbecue.
Well, yeah, but I hired some good people.
Ooh, that's important.
That is a question I wanted to ask you. Like, so 8 years ago you started this? Like that's when like Persnickety took off. 11?
Yeah.
Like, so if you could go back, what's the one thing you would do differently?
Ooh, hard to narrow it down.
Or a couple things.
Let go a little bit more. Like
Interesting. Like delegate a little bit more.
Yeah. Because I'm so like persnickety about everything. Like it has to all be, so I do it all.
Look at that. There it is. You used it in a sentence. That's what I needed.
I need to try to use that.
So it's anal retentive is what it means.
Yeah. Or just, I need to let other people make mistakes under my brand, under my name. But I'm also like super big on my word. So like if I say something's going to be amazing, it better be amazing. And so I'm in there like, no, that has to look good. Don't go print that again. Do that. Yeah.
Treat
whatever.
it like you would want, like how you would want the product.
And if your name's on it, you want to make sure that
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like every little thing matters. It's funny, like hearing you talk about, like when you asked Andrew, you asked about the material. It's the same question. Like I can use different meat in here and make a hell of a lot more money, but it's not going to be even close to as good. Right.
Right.
And so I hear about it once a month. Like, what are you buying that brisket for? It's like, well, go bring me another brisket and I'll cook it for you. And then you tell me which one you like better. Right. Like it's no contest.
You need to have that in your tagline. Like
let people know. Magical.
Yeah. Because they don't, the everyday consumer, they don't even realize it. Right. Like,
oh no, you do have to tell the story. And I've always needed to do a better job at that. Like, because they can taste it, and that's why they keep coming back. But yeah, like it's funny. I've actually talked to the I don't know, AgriBeef is the company that I use, but you know they have all these local farmers, right, that sell their cows to them. But it's like you guys need to give us restaurants and grocery stores like a better way to tell your story. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's all about storytelling. Do you see?
And it is. People want to be able to like. Have you ever seen Portlandia?
Yeah.
You heard of that?
Yeah.
Like, so where did this chicken come from? Like, oh, he's from the hills of Oregon, up in Western Oregon. His name was Colin. The farmer's name is John.
Yeah.
And he goes,
the chicken's name is?
before I'm comfortable with it, like, I need to go see the farm. Like, just making fun of these hipsters, you know? Like,
Yeah.
But people do want that, like, they do want the story because it's a big deal for me. It's a big deal for you. Like,
Yep.
and so it's kind of fascinating. But I just wonder, like, for me, it's hiring. Like, the more you realize, like, if you can stay in your zone, like, you can stay in the passionate part of what you love and stay out of accounting and label making. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep. I'm still having a hard time with that. Like, yeah.
Just
letting it go.
yeah, interesting. Got to find your next thing.
Oh, I have.
You have? What is it?
It's an app.
Same realm?
Called Persnickety Box.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I followed it. I followed both your accounts.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Where'd that come from?
Well,
Perfect segue.
things got not challenging. You know how that
Interesting.
works?
It got too easy.
And it's like, oh, everything's kind of fine tuned. And to be honest, I got divorced. Another learning, which sucks for, especially for the kids. And never recommend divorce. However, for women out there that are listening, it's important to be able to find your passion, and it's okay to like not have to sit. You don't have to be, especially in our community in Utah. It's like I grew up.
Culture issue there.
It's a culture issue. Yeah, it's like women don't work; they stay home with the kids, and that's when we're little growing up. We're like, I'm just going to be a mommy. We don't say, where are you going to go to college, Shari? Where are you going to do? No, I don't know. I'm just going to be a mom, and so anyway, it's okay. I think our marriage thing kind of fell apart when it's communication and learning all those things.
For sure.
And I find my passion and then, just communicating. But anyway, we don't even get into that. So,
I so badly want to get into that. Gosh dang it. You're lucky I have to leave soon.
oh no. So
We'll have a sequel.
the first, for any moms out there that have ever not had their children for a week, you don't even know what to do with yourself. You're like, what do I do? So the first spring break, I didn't have my boys. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to survey my customers. And I surveyed my current customers and I'm like, okay, guys, like, what are your pain points and things? And so, and it's really like,
Did you do that via social?
yeah, or like I use MailChimp.
Okay. Okay.
Throw in can't afford Qualtrics stuff, but Ryan, come on. You got to have an entry level survey for us. Anyway, so what was I saying? ADD.
It's ADHD. So ADD doesn't exist anymore. I want you to know that. It's all rolled into ADHD.
Deficit.
So if you're going to be on our team, if you're going to have our superpower, you have to call it the right thing.
Okay.
But that's going to go away soon too, because it's a horrible
Is
name.
it not politically correct or what?
It's not about PC. It doesn't describe what it is at all.
Okay.
You have a surplus of attention. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're stimulated, like
Right.
if you're into it.
Yeah, it was the pre-workout.
Right. And a hyperactive mind.
Yeah, my mind is
You're not bouncing out the walls. You are a little pre-workout, right?
Yeah.
But that's just because you're telling your story. Like,
Yeah, it's
I really
passion.
do think that that's true. Like, it's an awesome. Like, I hope you're super proud of your story.
Oh, thanks.
It's such a
I
badass
am.
story.
But there's things you kind of regret, like, oh, I probably should have tried harder here or done this better. But
That's the
it is what it
ADHD
is, right?
talking. You and I need to go to lunch.
yes, we do.
I can change your life in about 20 minutes. And his.
Yeah. Nice.
I need to be a marriage counselor for
Really,
ADHD
I think that's your new
spouses.
calling.
He gets mad because I bring it up all the time, but it's like, hey, he keeps bringing in ADHD guests that don't know that they have it. And it's my job to just help him out because I didn't know I had it forever. So anyway,
Yeah, but it
I'll
didn't stop you.
no, it still is not stopping me. I'm still talking about it. So he just shakes in his chair like this. Like,
Andrew. It's uncomfortable talking about.
do you know we're brother-in-laws?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So we make a
that's
good
cute.
pair. It's fun. Anyway, so let's get to the box here.
Oh, the box. So yeah, I had spring break. Surveyed the customers. This is like people all have apps. So we went from digital film to digital, and then technology's crazy fast. And now we're all I have 72,000 pictures on my phone. I don't even know how to get them off. And I don't know how to like click, upload, go to a website. Then I have to pick a size. Then I got to crop it. It's way too confusing. So I'm like, oh, I mean, I dabbled in Tinder a little bit and Bumble swiping.
Let's go. Let's talk
I
about
met this
that for a
guy on
minute.
Tinder.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was getting to the Tinder
Wow.
and I'm proud of it.
We can't stop this podcast right now. Gosh dang it.
You don't need to go anywhere.
You're coming back, both of you.
So, are we done? Is it been?
No, we're not.
Time,
No.
Time up?
No,
Beep, time's out.
I have to leave at 1:50. It doesn't mean it has to be over.
Oh, 7 minutes.
So yeah.
Okay.
We can do a 2.0.
Well, it's like not even a question.
Okay.
Like-
You know, I live around the corner.
Okay, you guys have to come back, and we're miking you up too. We got to hear.
Oh, yeah. Then we'll go into the marriage. We have a great therapist. We can totally get into the energies, masculine, feminine.
Okay, I'm going to therapy at 2:00. That's why I have to leave at 1:50.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's all
I
go.
talk about it all the time. Everybody.
I love it. Everybody should.
You
for
get
sure.
your oil changed in your car, right?
Absolutely. I
No-
like
no
this.
difference.
Yeah, for sure. And when you get married again, or everyone that's married should be going to therapy.
Everyone. That's funny. That's what I tell every new married couple. Like, any advice? It's like, run. But if you're not going to run,
Yeah.
just kidding. Like, go to therapy like twice a year to start.
Have you ever been divorced? Have you ever been divorced? Okay.
But I've experienced lots of divorce. Remember
Yeah,
what
your mom.
Like my parents, yeah.
Yeah, and all the names and yeah. This is what's crazy. I think my next thing is going to be
Your next
changing. No, my next
That's
my
where
next
it's going.
passion. I mean, besides freeing Cuba, is my next passion project is changing the laws. So when you get married, how hard is it to go get married?
Not very
You
hard.
literally sign a paper and have somebody do something, right?
Yep.
To get divorced, are you kidding me? You have to take a 2-week class if you have children and sign off papers that you've taken this course. The state makes you wait 90 days. I think it just changed. Like they won't allow you to get divorced. And I'm like, and then you have to take all these divorce classes so that the kids can be safe and all these things. And I'm like, wait, why?
it's
This is so
expensive, too.
backwards. Why are we not making people take classes before they get divorced? And a prenup should be for everyone because all it is communicating expectations. And anyway, I could go on and on and on. So we'll just have to do that again. 2.0.
That's 2.0. We're going to, the personal side of the story.
But I
amazing.
built an
Personal
app.
side of persnickety.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll build an app for divorce after that, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Or get Tinder and Bumble. We're going to make our own
I swear.
our own app.
So 2.0, we'll have to jump into Box, the
'Kay.
app.
Yep. And how we got to there.
Yeah.
So basically, they can just go in with all the pictures on their phone and really probably get the tools that you like to use as far as this is how it would look good. This is the size I want. This is the stuff. Like, is that kind of what it is? Like in a nutshell?
Just like dumbed it down, made it really simple. And if you haven't probably ever been on Tinder or Bumble, it's actually like a game. It's like better than a video game. You're just like, nope, no, shirt off, nope, left, right. And you're like, no, dude, no more gym selfies. So,
She looked over at Mark at that one.
we can let's talk about that. Yeah. I had yep. He goes to the gym and he drives a big truck.
That's what I'm talking about. I got the big truck part down, or that part down, but he was in his golf follow through.
Yeah.
That shot.
No, I
on
had
Tinder.
dating. I mean, it's all about the ROI, right? So when you're dating, you have, if you're smart, you're like, I need an ROI. I got to have a metric to scale it on. So I had a point system when I was dating, and I'm like, -10 + 2, and then you come out and see what you got.
Oh, we could have so much more fun with this.
Yeah, I'm
Anyway,
regretting
we'll
this
do a 2.0,
appointment right now.
and we'll talk about the Persnickety Box app.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
This is
Okay, so what time tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we shouldn't be. It just needs to be hour number 2, right?
Yeah.
Take notes at therapy today, and then we regurgitate the therapy, and everybody listening saves $240.
That's true. No, we got to get them to go. They got to go.
Yeah.
Got to do it themselves.
Yeah.
It's good for us. What a story.
There you
You
go.
sure you guys don't want to keep going?
It's not as fun if we're not all here.
You're right. We chatted too much in the beginning. Well, but I
Actually,
think we got
too long.
that. Here's the thing. So we have such a female-based audience just because we've had so many just badass women in here, like all the big CEOs and business owners from Utah. And so it's just kind of naturally gone that way. But I love that part, just because you're a stay-at-home mom or just because you may think that's what's expected of you or what, you can still do all that and start a business. And we got that, the meat and potatoes of your story, which is so cool.
You can get scrappy.
You can get scrappy.
I have to say one thing. If you go into Persnickety Prince in Orem, remember Borders Bookstore down here in Riverwoods? I went and they were closing. Things close in 2009, 2010. Take advantage of it. So I'm like, I need this table right here. Like, how much is this going to be? Because they were liquidating everything. $400. Called my friend with a truck, got it. And we've it's still over there in my store. That's what we use.
That's so
for
awesome.
When you walk in. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to start a business.
You don't. All my stuff's used. Like I built the table. Like this place was a nasty restaurant. And the whole reason I found this is because I came in here to buy a fridge and a warmer. Like for $400. And I was just like, how much is rent here? And they're like $700 a month. I'm like, perfect. And that's where I finally was like, let's open a restaurant.
Amazing.
And it was just that like simple of a decision. So you're totally right. Like there's so many liquidating, equipment liquidators now. Man, what an awesome story.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys. This has been fun.
We're going to do it again.
All right. Sounds good.